Hello everyone, and welcome back to my Let's Play of the Seance at Manor. This is probably going to be our last episode, unless a lot of things happen that drag the game out. But in the last episode, we have infiltrated the Blake residence over the Blake Manor, and found out that Walter Blake is a fabrication. He was photoshopped into the portraits by a professional painter, his room is empty, and the staff and Marquez Blake are simply hallucinating him. So, now we need... Oh, also we found out that Marquez Blake is intending to sacrifice Walter Blake and two other Milesians for the ritual, which of course he cannot do because Walter Blake doesn't exist. So presumably someone else is going to sacrifice Marquez Blake and two other Milesians to open the portal to Tinanok. In any case, let's hurry up and make our way to the Grand Seance. Is this fresh? Who knows? 9 PM. Time for the Grand Seance. Let us hurry up through the corridors. ... I lost track of time. The seance will be starting soon. I need to get out to the hedge maze and put a stop to this before it's too late. Okay, I feel like it would have been fun to allow me to walk, but sure. And also, barely anyone is going to be at the seance anyway. Who is it going to be? It is just going to be Mantovani, Coventry, and Blake. It's going to be a shit seance. At least we have cool music. I assume the seance is going to be happening... Okay, everything is... The church is closed. Yeah, people are all in their rooms. No one could be bothered. Walter's wheelchair. They wheeled it out this far, then abandoned it. What does Blake think is happening here? And there is Mantovani.
The circle is sealed. We call now upon the spirits.
It looks like they have begun. Oh, right, right. A few protected people are going to be there, like Omira and Mrs. Joyce and Dupré. There is an empty space here. Okay, Declan, there is a lot of empty spaces. It's for me, waiting for me. This hall, it was made for me. I shouldn't keep them waiting any longer.
To come forth, be witnessed by us, be heard by us. Age posco. Nego te recusare.
Okay, Mantovani, flex your cool necromancy magic.
Good lord.
Why are you still surprised by this, Declan?
They come.
Well, let's see this shit show. Okay, when they said Mantovani would not survive the seance, I didn't think it would happen by means of a lightning bolt. I thought she would, like, die of cancer. Oops. Turns out, random stones you find in safes are not reliable. Who could have known? I'm alive. I'm okay. But Carmel, she's... and the others. I don't know. The others are fine, we gave them divine protection and shit. Seance disaster. The seance ended in disaster and death. The real ritual then has begun. I mean, really the only person who died from the seance is the person who was going to die from cancer soon anyway. Let's try to remember... I hope the game will show me the sigils anyway, so I... She's dead. Miss Mantovani is dead. Miss Mantovani, she's dead. Evaporated by the ritual. Yeah, I obviously did not expect her to die in this manner. Well, luckily magic protected everyone else. No one else has died. We need to... Oh.
What are those things?
The Fae.
Are they?
Are they Fae? Sorry, I was too early on this. And they murder us. Understood. A wrong move. Should not get too close to them. You failed. You died on the grounds of Blake Manor. As a result of your actions, 19 of the people in the manor survived. Let's get back to it. Yeah. We need to get going. Let's add Fae to the evidence. Fae, unearthly creatures of the woods, rivers, and hills, who look remarkably undead-like. Fae, beings of Irish myth, have appeared en masse within the manor grounds and are closing in. I cannot allow them to stop. The hedge maze is a ruin. People are dead. I must catch the culprit before further harm is caused. Okay, more Fae. We need to get here, I think. Wall found.
The energy goes this way. But how? My head.
Speak your name to enter.
It wants the culprit's name. But who?
I mean, we know. We know who the culprit is. You, Mr. Coventry.
Welcome, Simon.
Accused. Mystery solved. Who is behind the disappearance of Miss Dean? And we are in the mausoleum. Okay, out of curiosity, I want to go back and try to accuse someone wrong. And see what cool death this is going to give us. Let's say that it is Walter Blake.
Incorrect.
No, you just get murdered by the Fae.
They're coming.
Speak.
Okay, you apparently have multiple guesses. I wish I could say it myself.
I don't have.
Oh, you have a lot of guesses. The game is incredibly merciful.
Speak.
Like the game doesn't need to be this merciful. It's not a difficult mystery to crack. Hurry up. You don't need to be this slow. Mausoleum. I found a secret room full of things belonging to Simon Coventry. And we got confirmation that Simon Coventry is the culprit after all, even though we didn't find 2 facts about him. The door opened to the name of Simon Coventry, the culprit behind everything happening at Blake Manor. A bed with research materials on it. Was Coventry sleeping down here before the event? We cannot examine. The text says Miss Dean, so this is where it was brought. Here lies Norman Blake, died in Church Cave-in, 1805-1836. Where it says buried as he lived alone is scratched over frantic. Buried as he lived alone. So, is Coventry then Norman Blake? I'm not doesn't feel right. And here is him painting. Various paintings of Walter Blake that Coventry must have discarded, or whatever mistakes he feared people would see through. The reference photograph was Henry Blake, 1840, written on the back. Is he himself Henry Blake? Who knows? It looks like a photograph of Walter Blake, but the writing on the back says Henry Blake, 1836. Okay, photos of Henry Coventry. Feels quite odd then that the door reacts to Simon and not Henry.
A collection of papers, a birth certificate, and a journal.
So, based on Coventry's will, I'm guessing that Coventry's actual plan then is to murder Marquez Blake, be reborn as a young person, and impersonate Walter Blake?
It's the birth certificate of a Henry Blake, who seems to be the older cousin of Jonathan Blake, the actual heir to the title and lands here. His father died when he was still a young lad. Rather than pass the title and lands to Henry, an attempt was made on his life by Jonathan Blake's father. Henry's mother took him and fled. She died soon after, leaving him alone in the world. All he had were his father's notes, the notes that resulted in his death. Among them, the sigil.
Okay, so maybe Coventry's crash out is somewhat justified then.
He spent much of his life studying the occult to make sense of the sigil.
Blakes just seem like they suck in general, and that nearly every one of them has been a horrible person.
And eventually, much older, he returned to the manor, armed with the understanding of the ground's secrets. He had adopted the identity of Simon Coventry, a man who had also recently lost his wife. Over this, he bonded with the Marquess, and used that to gain the access he needed to search the grounds. He found the chamber his father had died opening, and was able to get inside. That is where he discovered Guivenu, locked in a deep sleep, the god's dreams already colored by the events happening around him. Coventry took advantage of this through prayer and something he calls his Shrine of Images. And Guivenu's dreams reshaped the minds of everyone around him into thinking there was a Walter Blake who's been crippled in the accident that killed his mother. Because to unlock the gate he needs Blake blood. It says here they are the last of the third Milesian bloodline. The Marquess will kill himself, thinking he both kills and frees his son.
I kind of wish we would have, organically found this information instead of getting an info dump at the last moment. It also feels like maybe by comparison to Barbossa, Coventry should be seen as justified, even though I don't think he really is.
The god's dream can't force anyone to act outside of their interest. He couldn't be made to kill himself, but he could be tricked into doing it for the right reason.
Because Barbossa's family has essentially used magic to murder a bunch of queens and force them to give back their inheritance. This is pretty much what Coventry is doing. Because, again, this is a fucked up thing to do.
Then with Blake gone and the god freed, Coventry will ask for his reward, to have his youth returned.
It's hard to see how Barbossa's case is morally good and Coventry's isn't.
He will then take his place as the heir in the form of Walter Blake, the son with paintings, documents and mesmerized staff to vouch for him as the next in line to the title.
I guess a somewhat clean scheme, even though without our intervention he would be inheriting a bunch of debts and a failing manor, and also becoming a young boy. And, you know, also murdering a bunch of people. A sigil fell out of the pile. Coventry, magical fabrication. Simon Coventry has been tapping into the entity's dream and reshaping reality throughout the estate. Simon Coventry's goal is to free the entity in order to assume the role of his executor? What? Wait a second. What the fuck? Is to free the entity, I guess. Henry Blake to inherit his... Am I missing a bunch of words here? Because his real identity is ousted heir Henry Blake. Walter Blake? I don't think this... Yeah, this sentence doesn't make any sense. Let's look at this and try to make... Free the entity in order to assume the role of his... Walter Blake isn't real. Doesn't make sense. His ancestral home, no. His sigil under her bed, no. His magical fabrication, maybe? His wife's belongings. His jewelry shop. His, I guess, magical fabrication? Walter Blake. To inherit his... ancestral home, maybe?
Simon Coventry is really Henry Blake, ousted heir of the Blake title and fortunes. He has returned with the intent of using magic to reclaim what was taken from him. I need to stop him.
Who is Mr. Coventry? I understand now that Mr. Coventry is actually an heir to the Blake estate. Henry Blake. And we got the achievement, Family Tree. Coventry's case, correct. You do not have a hypothesis to your name. And you are not real. And Mantovani is dead. Here lies Norman Blake, died in Church Haven, 1805-1836. Yeah, we have read this already on the other wall. Notes on the ritual I found under Miss Dean's bed. Mr. O'Finn's too. Could you tell us? Some rough notes. O'Finn recognized me. After all these years, he was only a child when I visited his camp seeking their wisdom. Even my own flesh and blood didn't know me. In hindsight, I was probably memorable enough. A wealthy outsider coming to ask of their god. I shouldn't have panicked and attacked him though. That was risky. But what if he outed me? Thankfully, I played in those catacombs as a lad, and know all their secrets. My back is in agony today for it. I have taken most of the bottle to ease the pain. By tonight, back troubles will be a future problem. This time, I will take better care. I will care better for my joints. Smart guy. A bottle of painkiller. It's empty. Presumably opium. So maybe the reason Coventry is acting like that is because he's constantly high off his rocket. Okay, another sigil. Yeah, I think it was the right decision last time to end the episode where I did. So. Okay, yeah, 2 is good. Never mind. This is wrong. This is a dead end. Okay, let's try starting here. No. Solved. And we are in a dreamscape. Huh. The Fae are gathered around there. Locked mausoleum door. There is more of them. They're closing in on the church. And there is the priest, who we have never talked with. Oh. Where is your hitbox, Mr. Reverend? Oh. The Reverend. He's been murdered. Yeah, sorry, we didn't know him at all. Hey, the Fae are inside the church. There is nowhere left to go. But forward. Cool techno magic? Coventry is kind of badass to make all of this. This is a really cool setup he has. Ogham runes? Coventry. Henry Blake. He is praying to the entity. To the smithing god, Goivno. Goivno? However you pronounce it.
It's Mr. O'Finn. He seems to still be alive. I can't see a way to open this and get him out.
What the fuck do you mean you don't see the way to open it? This thing. The valve.
Miss Jean! I need to find a way to get her out while she's still alive.
I mean, presumably these machines are pumping out blood. Modern vats sit in the room. They seem to have figures inside them. Hidden chamber under the church. Okay, lens. Half-eaten sandwich. Nice. More sigil research. The vat for Marquez. Not closed.
Shh, shh. Now, Walter.
Hey, Marquez.
No tears now. Not long to go. Mummy will be home soon. Thanks to you. A big, brave boy. This will only hurt a moment. Then Daddy will talk with the floating man and bring you and her back. Then we'll all be together again. One big, happy family. What are you doing here? I won't let you stop this.
I need to get through to him. Let's use our cool gathered information. False sacrifice. Marquez Blake was strapping himself into one of the beds. You cannot save your family. You have been tricked by Henry Blake, so he can take over your ancestral home. You cannot save your family. You have been tricked by Henry Blake, so he can take over your ancestral home.
Fooled? But I would have all I could ever... Who was restraining me? And where is my son? Where is my boy? He should be here, shouldn't he? No. I thought... No. I didn't. They were not my thoughts. Not at all. They were put there. There is no Walter. Just a cruel illusion. Oh, my boy. Taken from me.
All it takes for you to realize there is no Walter, huh?
And Mary. My Mary. She is truly gone. Never coming back. Who would make a man think such things? Have such hope? You're right. I have been fooled. By a relation I did not even know existed. Fooled by the only real flesh and blood that I have.
That's a face. I know this should be viewed differently,
Of me, you fool!
but it is quite a comedic illustration.
How could you do this to me? You gave me hope. You gave me a son. Only to take them from me?
Some lucidity, is it? I am only doing to you what your grandfather did to me. I should have been the Marquess of Doon, and I will be. Islam, Jonathan. You will be nothing!
We both fall into the pit of blood magic. Double the bloodline, I guess. So, unfortunately, this unlocks Guivno. Mystery solved. The Marquess could not be saved. Marquess Blake was determined to resurrect his wife at any cost, but he had been tricked into nearly sacrificing himself by the ousted heir, Henry Blake, posing as Simon Coventry. End of the line is the name of the achievement. The end of the Blakes. An enraged Jonathan Blake killed Simon Coventry, really Henry Blake, and accidentally himself, ending the Blake bloodline. And we need to stop the ritual now. Let's make a real save just in case. These look much older than the baths. Perhaps they are the original locks that the magicians used to seal the gate. Same. Ominous stones with holes in them. Dark brown stains ring the hole. Do they? I don't think they do. You did not add this to the illustration. Coventry's, Henry Blake's father, painting of himself, inserted into the family as Walter Blake. Right in front of Guivno, like a strange type of shrine. This must be how Coventry seeded the idea into the god's mind to keep it in front and center in his thoughts, so they would be present in his dreams. Which is how it infiltrated the minds of the staff and guests here, tricking everyone into believing the child was real. And how he clouded everyone's mind about Miss Dean's disappearance and her room, as well as the staff's minds as to their having met him before this event. Yeah, I didn't want to do that. There was other stuff to investigate.
The Tuatha Dé Danann and the Melee Milesians faced off for the final time at the Battle of Taltiu. After much death, a truce was called. They agreed to halve the land between them. However, the Milesians tricked the gods by claiming the top half, so the Tuatha Dé Danann went below ground through this here portal.
It feels odd to say that the Milesians tricked the gods as if the bottom half is bad, because apparently it is like the land of milk and honey and the land of infinite youth. So, you know, it kind of feels like Tuatha Dé Danann got a much better land than Northern Ireland.
Weavna stayed behind to build a lock for the portal that could only be opened again by him and the 3 Milesian leaders, using their blood.
Unless, of course, we are going with the idea that the land of gods is special because the gods live there rather than the other way around.
Once the portal was closed, he fell into a deep slumber, from which his dreams inspired those who lived here for millennia. Until war came to the land once again. Oliver Cromwell and his forces arrived, led in this region by Edward Blake. They killed those living here, the people Guivna had formed a bond with over the generations. Their blood seeped into this chamber and tainted his dreams. He felt alone and scared. He feels alone and scared still. He just wants to go home to his people.
This is probably super hard-hitting if you are big into Irish history and know a lot about Cromwell's invasion. I unfortunately do not, so to me it doesn't have much emotional value. But I assume we are going to use what's his name? Seance sigil to send Guivno back home. Yes, the close sigil would close the portal and like maybe put Guivno back to sleep. And probably the open sigil would open the portal and, I don't know, unleash a horde of Fae and murder us. A broken pillar. Clearly it had a sigil carved into it, but I cannot make it out now. Pillar with a sigil carved into it. But what is it for? I mean, we know what it is for. Guivno, and the entity haunting Blake Manor, the ancient Irish god of smithing, Guivno. A gateway to the ancient world. And that is Oskel. That is the open sigil. Is it possible to reach here without finding any of the sigils? A painting of Mary. Henry Blake wielded grief like a whip to a slave. What a phrase. It went red when they fell in. Was already red. The Blake blood has been added. I need to power this machine down before it is too late. Is this Guivno, imprisoned here for an eternity? Something deep inside of me is screaming not to get any closer. Okay, we are not allowed. But have you considered that I would do it anyway? Never mind. Not allowed. So, we need to use the sigil, box, cross, center line. It has an ogam on it. These dials, they seem to be a kind of control panel. I should be able to arrange them in such a way as to allow me to perform a sigil here. But what sigil? Please give me a reference and not make me remember them. Okay. Toil, Dun, and Oskale. This is... it should be like this. Should be like this. And you should be... like this. No, incorrect. Something is happening. No. Incorrect. Let's see. I want to set it to show, which feels like it should be this. This, so this is in level, and this. Am I wrong? Yes, I am wrong because it needs to have this line. Yeah, there we go. That is show. Ancient Irish technology. Let's kill a god. Achievement God Killer. Free Guivno from his mortal form and shut it down. Close the portal. We are going to reload to see the other endings. I'm surprised Domhnall manages to run considering he has been pumped out of his blood for like a day. And the church explodes. Mystery solved. The ritual. Achievement, come with me if you want to leave. Save Mr. Othin. I have stopped the ritual. Achievement, breaking the circle. Mystery solved. Can I stop the ritual?
So...
We are back at the fireman. Ah, Miss Dean, the world's most hated person.
this is where the man who saved my life spends his time.
You'll join me.
Yes. I think at the very least, I owe you a drink.
And then a hero comes along. Save Miss Dean.
Freed from the vase's curse, Miss Hisham became obsessed with seeking out other cursed items hidden across the globe. Miss Montavani's family were devastated with the news of her death, but at least her last wish had been carried out, and they were set for many comfortable years. Mr. O'Mara's angel led him deep into the unknown parts of the world. I never learned in search of what.
Again, a Lovecraftian protagonist.
With the curse lifted, Miss Quinn was free to raise her siblings in safety. She supported them only by her earnings as a poet.
That's really not a lot of earnings.
Mrs. Darcy disposed of her husband's ghost on her route home. She later turned the events of the manor into the acclaimed horror novel. eldritch house.
Feels vaguely exploitative. Because you murdered your husband.
Mr. Hunter left the manor and spent his remaining years breeding champion horses for the MacLeod family.
Good for him.
Mr. Doyle left Ireland to see the world.
Alright, that's Seamus. I almost forgot who Doyle is.
Free from his obligation, Mr. Dupre returned to New Orleans. With a newly opened mind, Mrs. Joyce accompanied him to the New World.
I'm glad they made a friendship. Even if it turned Joyce into a heretic.
Mr. Toussaint shared his account of the seance with his societal fellows, after which it was agreed he should spearhead a new department of supernatural investigations. He also published a paper, thoroughly correcting every element that Mrs. Darcy had embellished in her novel.
Toussaint certainly was a man who existed in this narrative.
Miss Callahan finally retired and passed the role of Dree on the Dr. Callahan.
Good for them.
Mrs. Erickson destroyed all remnants of her magical persona and started a new life away from all things supernatural.
Hopefully with less planned murder.
With her family lands returned to her, along with the Quinn fortune, Miss Barbosa began a new life in Ireland.
Mrs. Lau and Miss MacLeod retired to a cottage outside London. They never attended another mystical event.
Nice to them. She had to say about them.
Mr. O'Finn went deep into the forest and was never seen again.
That's a shame. We still had a lot of topics for conversation with him.
Miss Murphy continued the studies she began under Miss Dean and used that power to create a better life for herself. With Miss Callahan's help, she was able to reunite with her daughter. Father Sinnott retired and spent his last few years exploring the forests of Ireland with his hound, Seamus. Mr. Skerritt established the Skerritt Foundation, which set up schools and hospitals for the underprivileged. He is thought of fondly by those he helped.
Huzzah.
Mr. Varley used the treasure to purchase the manor. He turned it into a refuge for lost souls.
Honestly, good on you, Wally. You were an obstructive piece of shit, but at least you managed to probably do the most good out of the people here.
He kept the name, Blake Manor.
Detective Ward saved 21 out of 21 people. 37 out of 37 mysteries solved.
Do you think this will work?
I have no idea. But I have read her notes. She knew what she was doing. There's no harm in trying, right?
I'm not sure you can say that. Not after everything. But yes, let's do it.
I think man's voice is Declan. I'm not sure about the book. I guess it's Evelyn.
Age posco, nego te recusare.
So you saw a ritual that murdered Miss Mantovani on the spot, and you're going, ah yes, let's try that again. You people are weird.
Are you there?
Yeah, Eamon.
Hello, brother.
We kind of never resolved your plot threads. You just sort of exist to be mentioned a few times. Like, Ward is barely a character. We got the achievement, World's Best Detective. Solve all the mysteries of Blake Manor. Yay! Success. Yeah, that's a pretty good game. Return of the Obra Dinn, it ain't. The investigation aspect is incredibly basic. There is barely any threat involved. You just talk about relevant things to people and it moves along on its own. But it's a nice short story. It was fun. The short stories from every character were alright. It would be nice if they were more interactive and more interconnected, and like outside of the designated group stories like Lau, MacLeod, and Dara. Those three have a story in common, so they are all connected, but otherwise the characters barely have any influence on each other. And I don't think Coventry as a villain was all that developed. He just sort of exists, and we find all the information in the last second. We do not really build up to it. We just find a list of clues that exterminates other suspects until only he remains, and then we learn what is actually going on. But I think I had fun playing this game, so I do not regret it. Definitely I recommend. But before we finish, let us of course try the other sigils. Beginning with, I think, open. Let's bring the Tor Dedan into this world. Let's fuck it all up. Actually, Coventry was going to fuck it all up anyway. Go on. Wake up, Guivno. Wake up. You have an island to burn. Wake the fuck up, Irish god. I wonder how good are the guns against the Tor Dedan. They lost to the Milesians 1,000 years ago. One would imagine modern military would destroy them and colonize the Tirnanog. Although if they have chemical warfare like that, maybe they would super win. It's the end of the world as we know it. Open the portal is the achievement. And the game just ends, of course. So this is the straight up bad ending. Tor Dedan can just fuck everything up, no questions asked. In which case, the question to be asked is how did they lose the first time if they have this kind of shit? Maybe this is what they developed in the last 1,000 years. The closing sigil. And the portal is closed, but Guivno remains here. Buried, presumably. Do we fail to rescue the people in this scenario? No. We pick them up. So it is just Guivno who gets fucked. Why does the church explode here? That's a bit unclear, maybe. I have stopped the ritual. Status quo is preserved. Anything different? Maybe not.
Freed from the vase's curse.
Yeah, this seems like an ending identical to the other one. For the scene inside of the church. 21 out of 21, 37 out of 37. Okay, not much of a difference between a release and
I have no. She.
release and close. There we go. And no achievement for it, surprisingly. Okay, the close ending just sucks. It is just the worst version of the release ending, I see. Well, in any case, I have said all there is to say for me about the Seance of Blake Manor. It was a good game, I liked it. You probably don't need to play it yourself anymore, but you know, I hope you enjoyed the Let's Play. So, thank you for watching, everyone. Goodbye.